Hello guys, welcome to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to see the how we can create our first Lambda in AWS. So using the Visual Studio. So under the Visual Studio, how we can create that. We are going to see that. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go in the file and create one project here. So here we will select under the all platforms like AWS, and here we can select that serverless. So we can create that serverless Lambda for AWS here. Now here under this we can take the .NET Core and C Sharp here. So we can select here AWS Lambda project, and that we can going to create. So select this and click on next. Here we can add our name for the project. So we can add here first Lambda. So file location also you can add as per your convenient, and let's get started. Click on create. And here, so by default that blueprints are coming. As of now we can select the empty function here because we are starting our first Lambda. So we can select that empty function and click on finish. So our first Lambda project it will create. Here go in the solution explorer, and here you can see this is the folder structure for this Lambda expression. So you can click on the readme.md here, so you can read that Lambda related explanation here. So all the explanations are added here in the readme.md, and if you can see here the AWS Lambda tool JSON file. So this is the configuration stuffs added here. So profile name, and also we have added some handler. By default that handler is coming here, so that function handler, and our first application name, that lambda, first Lambda. So now we can see the function class here. So function.cs, here you can see this is a default function handler. So the parameters are here string input, and it is a I lambda context. So this is a lambda context for this function. If you can see the dependencies in the packages, there are two mainly added packages like Amazon Lambda Core and Lambda serialization. So these packages it's used for the Lambda, and if you can see in the properties there is a launch setting.json. So this launch setting.json is used for the host that application. So whatever that configuration related for the mock Lambda, so that is here. So there is a port 5050 is added. So on the 5050 port it will be work, and this is a .NET Lambda test tool. So that is a executable path here. So using that on the browser, that application output will be there. So we can keep on breakpoint here and see the default output for this Lambda. So just click on the start application. It will first build that application, and then it will start. So the host is started here. So if you can see is a .NET 8.0 mock Lambda test tool. Okay, so the environment is started here 5050 localhost, and this is a default mock Lambda test tool, and this is all about that Lambda output screen. And this is config file and function here, that automatically whatever that function in the request handler there, so that is came here. This is are some AWS credentials profile, and this is function input. So we can pass function input from here. So we can just pass one sample input from here. So let's add one first Lambda here as a input, and now click on the execute function. So it will call the local function, that function handler. So the debugger is hitted here. Now you can see the input. Under the input, that first Lambda is text came that we added there on the browser. So let's debug that and see the output. So that text will be converted in the uppercase. So if you can go in the browser, and under the response you can see below that first Lambda is came here. So now let's create one custom class here. So let's stop this debugging and let's create one custom class, and we can pass as a parameter for this function handler, and let's see that what will be we can pass the parameter for this. So let's add one class here, like class user class, simple user class we can add, and under that user class we can add two properties here. So one is id, and we can add another property like name. So we can add here integer id, and another property we can add here string, can add in capital, and here that class is ready, and that user class we can pass as a input for the function handler. So instead of the string here we can pass that user here. So here some errors because we have just passed that class, so we can pass that property name there after the input. So input dot name, and that name property should be true upper. So now it's fine. So still one error is there, that function handler. So just to hover on that and see what is that. So user is less accessible. So let's make that public class user, and then it will be resolve that issue. Okay, so it is done now. So let's we will start that application now. Breakpoint is added here. Okay, so now localhost is open. So now if we can add a request body here, like currently we need to add here as a JSON here because we added a class. So first parameter is the ID. We can add one, and second parameter is the name. So that name we can pass here, and simply we can add here AWS Lambda. So that name will be replicated there in a request body. So AWS Lambda, simply we can send request to the controller. So click on execute here. So you can see in the input there is id is game1 and name AWS Lambda. So let's directly click on the continue. So it will be start the application and see the output that text should be generated in a uppercase here, AWS Lambda. So this is our first Lambda in a AWS, and using these simple steps we can create our own Lambda. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe the channel.